So you will not offend us in any way. How many of you have never seen Paranormal Generation before? Awesome. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Just kidding.
We'll give you a chance to see this. Well, we want to just talk real quickly now, just kind of go over some stuff. Paranormal Generation. How many of you are fans of like those paranormal shows on TV? Maybe you watch those. Ghost Hunters or what's that other one called? Ghost Adventures. I keep forgetting that one. Well, we've actually done, this is a project we've worked on for about 2 years now. We actually just wrapped up our first season of Paranormal Generation. It's a TV show that actually started out to be a cable access show in the Chicago suburbs. That was the original plan when we kind of got started. From that evolved to being a cable access show in Chicago, to working with a website called mypara.net, which is a website based out of the central part of Wisconsin. They picked up the TV show right away because we're a little different than what a lot of those shows are you see on the mainstream TV. You are not going to see us running around screaming and yelling, wetting our pants, that kind of stuff every time something scary happens.
I do something.
Matt, yeah, he does something. Stop drinking that water right now, Justin. He hasn't seen this yet, so we want to make sure. But we have some fun. We have a lot of fun with this show. Because our show does not have... you'll notice those shows when you watch them, every episode has tons of stuff that happens. And anybody in here who has ever really investigated ghost hunting before, you guys know you can go sometimes and have nothing happen for 3 nights and checking a place out that's reportedly haunted. We wanted to keep Paranormal Generation as real as possible. And because of that, people who are involved in the paranormal field are actually really appreciating the show because it's giving a real taste of what paranormal and ghost hunting is for the actual ghost hunter out there. That's the reason we put the show together. We don't get into using psychics, we don't get into Ouija boards and seances and table tipping and all that kind of stuff. It's strictly scientific. Now, the problem that people don't realize, Matt here, he's one of our cast members on the show, Matt is actually a psychic. And, what we did, before we got started, I had Matt put together 3 separate predictions for you guys. And we are going to take clues from the people in the audience, and he actually went and predicted what you guys are going to figure out. We appreciate this, Matt. So these have been sealed, obviously. We don't know you. Is there somebody who would be willing to volunteer some non-personal information, just something simple? Okay, I need you, Matt drew a picture of an animal. Don't say something like a giraffe or an elephant, those are very common. But what's a unique animal that maybe Matt would have drawn?
Unicorn.
I didn't pick you.
A donkey.
A donkey? Well, lo and behold, Matt drew a donkey. Yes. So it does work. Now another thing, we asked Matt, could you give us a color? You wanted to pick something. Pick a color, any color.
Green.
Green. Lo and behold, Matt, you were correct. It was green. That's in Chinese. That does say green in Chinese. Matt, another awesome job with your psychic abilities. Here's the real impressive one, though, Matt. I asked him to think in the grocery store, pick out any food in any aisle, select that food, and the price. Anybody want to take a stab at this one? Yeah.
Cream corn for 79 cents.
Cream corn for 79 cents. Matt, you are amazing. There is the UPC code for cream corn for 79 cents. Give Matt a round of applause, our psychic on the show. Thank you, Matt. Stuff on the show. Not that we're saying, hey, every psychic out there is a loony. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying, though, is that we cannot verify and show true information on a TV show based on what somebody is feeling or sensing. Like I said, we're not discrediting that, but for us to present this as real and raw as we can, we do not want to include that in the show because we want to actually be able to show scientific proof, not sensations and feelings people are having. Right, Justin?
That's correct.
Yes. So that's why we skip away from using those sort of things. He's our sensation expert up here. I just want to introduce everybody really quick. We're going to move along. We do have the premiere of our season 2 episode. We do have down here on the end our tech manager. That's Matt Shank. He's been with the show since day 37. We have Amanda Shank. That is Matt's wife. And I think the two of them are actually, we're going to let them, they actually have something kind of interesting to announce right now. Matt?
We're expecting our second child in April.
Hey, so they just found out. So yay! There goes production. Yes.
Did Matt know that psychically before she was moving?
Yeah, where's that donkey picture?
Well, we will be having a contest later to name the child. One of you will get the honor.
We did have previous cookies today, so we were thinking a good name would be?
Green Beans cookies are awesome. Pea shake.
We thought that was a great name. Casper. I get the impression it's going to be Lloyd. That's just my guess if it's Lloyd, but that's another story. Or Meatloaf. Now, and Meatloaf is not the father of the child. Just inside joke. We also have, of course, Justin Krogstad. He's our field researcher. Amanda's our paranormal investigator. And we actually have a special guest with us up here. This is Erika Johnson. Say hi, Erika.
Hi.
Hi, Erika. Erika, you're going to see her in our Roff Home video, which is our first episode for the premiere. We actually had an opportunity, just to let you know briefly what's happening. Justin had received was a phone call or a word of mouth kind of thing?
Yeah, it started with word of mouth. It went to an email then.
Yeah. But he had found about Erika. Now, Erika had an opportunity with Make-A-Wish Foundation. She was qualified for that program. And your wish was, Erika?
To meet Zach Bagans.
Yes. Go ahead.
From the Ghosted and the Ghost Adventures group from the show Ghost Adventures.
And doing investigation.
And
Yeah.
for doing an
Yeah, I'll get it.
Ghost hunt.
She wanted to get on a ghost hunt on TV, and her ideal was to work with Zach. Now, you did get to meet Zach and everybody,
Yes.
which is pretty exciting. So she had a chance to do that. Where did they take you out to?
The Winchester Mystery House.
So she got the trip out there.
You guys know where that is? Winchester House? In California. It's Winchester was the wife of the guy that made the guns. And at some point, he died, and the rumor is that she went crazy and just started adding on to this house in odd ways. I mean, she would build a room off of another room with a door that led to nowhere, things like that. It looks
Stairways that just
really, really weird.
So we hooked up with Erika for the night at the Roff Home. She did come with us as an investigator that night, so we brought her along as a special investigator to the Roff Home. And we are actually going to show our first 30 minutes of the premiere episode, which is filmed at the Roff Home, which we're going to touch on that today. Now we got something kind of fun we want to talk to you guys about and see if you're interested. But we were actually looking to go ahead and live shoot our opening meeting with you guys here. It'll take just a few seconds if you're interested.
Sure.
Give you the opening, kind of the briefing, what we would want to talk about quickly, and give you guys a chance to actually work with us as we film live, right here. And if you guys are is you okay with this, Stephanie?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure. And then if anybody else is really fun, after we're done with the night, if time allows, we would actually like to shoot a short commercial for the Ghost Tales Network, GTN, which is an online television network our show is on. And if anybody wants to, what?
Who voted us?
Who voted us the best new paranormal series of 2011 on their network. Yes. So, a nice honor. And we will go ahead and try to shoot that too, and if anybody wants to be involved in the scene too, we're going to do a big shout out, Get Your Ghost On, which is their slogan for the station. With a large crowd, it would get a lot of play on their network, I'm sure. So we're going to do that, but what do we want to do first, Beth? Do you want to shoot that sequence right away?
I thought you were going to show the clip first, but whatever.
Oh, we can do that first too. We can do that. You guys want to go right into the premiere?
Yes.
All right. Well, we can do that. Well, we also want to mention one last thing before we get started. You notice the delicious cookies back there?
Yeah, they were great.
Greeby's Bakery, folks. They just announced they are going to be backing our show, the official cookie of Paranormal Generation. Yes. Brandon Greedy started out and gave us a nice donation of 7 dozen cookies for tonight. And they are good. Those are the ones you can get them at the Speedway gas stations and Woodman's and Century and stuff. They bought out Crestwood Bakeries, those Crestwood lovers like me. So a great opportunity. If you ever are down there, thank them for their sponsoring shows like this. But Beth is going to go ahead.
On your show, and I was really impressed. I mean, the production values are excellent, and it's suspenseful. Isn't it suspenseful? It keeps your attention. And you said that all these other ghost shows, they cram in all these different things. That was even exciting. I mean, not seeing anything. And there was humor, and the music was perfect. I'm gonna have to watch this online.
Well, we got some time. I just want anybody had any questions specific to the Roff Home.
I do. Did you do it in the day and not at night? I mean, usually when I watch the ghost shows, they always wait till nighttime.
Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, the spook factor, but also if you do it in the daytime, some of our instruments detect electromagnetic frequencies, interference, etc. And it's nice to be able to turn the circuit breaker in the entire house off So obviously you don't have electricity, you don't have lights, etc. So it's easier to do it during the day so you don't fall down the stairs and things like that, so.
Another reason too, they'll do them at nighttime, this theory, a lot of times when you see illuminated type of activity where you'll catch, maybe, if it's bright in this room, if something lit went across this room, you may not catch on it, but if you're in the complete darkness, a lot of times you will sometimes catch it a little better. That's another theory behind it. But as we've talked with a lot of people, stuff happens daytime, stuff happens nighttime. I'll go back to Shaker's Cigar Bar here in the 3rd Ward. We went down and did an episode down there. We did a full daytime investigation and probably got some of the most interesting evidence we've gotten on any one of our shows. But there again, it's an operative business. It operates from about noon till 2 in the morning, and a lot of that stuff when they have the activity happen seems to happen during the daylight hours too. So, you'll see you mentioned the daytime. We were there till about 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
And drove all the way back up here from Watseka.
And when you talk about residual haunts, people see the same girl go from point A to point B. I mean, that doesn't always happen at night. It can be in the middle of the daytime, etc. So, I mean, ghosts, or whatever you believe it is, can happen anytime during the day, so.
But the second half of the show is in darkness. You see it was dark when we walked outside too. We had but good question.
Hauntings, you mentioned the residual, and can
I'm
you
gonna-
describe poltergeist?
I'm going to defer to Matt.
Okay, there's residual, that's just like a memory that repeats itself. There's no actual intelligence behind it. It's not actually a spirit. There's intelligent, that would be most people's idea of a ghost, a spirit. Some people believe there's demonic. We personally, I don't know, we don't really believe in that kind of stuff.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
And then there's also poltergeist activity, which actually isn't like you see in the movies. It actually has nothing to do with ghosts at all. It's actually a human agent who's actually causing the activity themselves through an unconscious form of psychokinesis.
So our vision of residual haunting as being like they always say on the Ghost Hunter show, a tape recorder playing itself, looping over and over again with this same chunk of time or history. A person walking through the room, as Justin said, happening over and over and over. It's just that energy is just trapped there, replaying itself over and over again. Or when the term the intelligent is actually like you or me actually having a thought and concept and not just being a looped insight happening over and over again.
You sitting here as opposed to you on the screen just now.
Yes. Though you could loop that over and over again, then it would be a residual mean.
But you'll notice one of the things that Matt had mentioned about demonic haunts is even though we are a team and we work together, each of us has our own beliefs and different things we do and don't believe in. So that's something that I think plays into itself during the show, which is actually quite interesting because you can see the different discussions and the different debates that we have just within our group as well. So it really leads to some interesting ideas.
Why do ghosts sometimes materialize as a whole, or sometimes just the head or the legs or an arm? Is there a reason for that?
Well, some people.
I can. Go ahead.
Okay, some people believe that when a ghost manifests, it's actually a form of thought projection. And how you're seeing them is how they see themselves. When you close your eyes and you picture yourself, most people don't picture themselves right down to their feet, and that's why a lot of apparitions appear to be footless.
Or wearing period clothing.
Right.
For the same reason
Right.
too. The other concept too is the thought that it takes energy to manifest yourself, and depending on the amount of energy that is in that room or in that building or structure, whatever the case is, it's maybe not a full manifestation. That just the energy's, take a ball of clay and you got to mold it into a shape. It's not going to happen instantly. But sometimes depending on when you capture that sculpture being made, depending on how the ions are materialized, and the more ions you have in the air, like if you've got an electrical storm coming through, there is theories and people have said you can see apparitions a lot better when you have high ions and high amounts of energy in the atmosphere, that those ions can actually pull together faster to create these visions that people will see sometimes.
Did you see anything on that little tree mechanism?
Nothing. Not even a bunny for Matt. Nothing. We got like one shot of, I think, Justin walking by the camera. We did get that one.
Yeah, the problem with those IR cameras is they're tripped by heat, and when it's, what is it, 65 below or something? Everything is cold, and so it's going to be really tough to pick up on something like that in those conditions.
We were hoping maybe even a deer. A squirrel, yeah, something, you know? You ladies look like you have questions.
I mean, how did you get into
Well,
doing this? I mean,
I'm working on a degree in psychology, and I've taken classes in parapsychology with Lloyd Auerbach.
Okay.
Who's Lloyd Auerbach? I'm sure most of them don't know.
He's a parapsychologist. He's written many books, and
Featured guest on Ghost Adventures on the USS Hornet episode. He's out of California. If you're watching, Lloyd.
But
and the rest of you are just interested in this?
I've
or
been interested since I was 16 years old, so it's
Did you
something I've
have
been.
an experience that?
When I was 9, I saw my first ghost, and then through the years, I had like experiences like every once in a while. And then when I got older, I started going to investigate different places and checking things out.
Yeah, with me, it's since about 5th, 6th grade. I was into those Haunted Wisconsin books and, checking those out at the library club, and reading those. And then from there, just kind of always had a little passion. Anytime Unsolved Mysteries, remember that antique show? Whenever that was on, checking that out. And I just had a love for those shows. And I really grew into a love myself for buildings. I love old buildings, haunted, not haunted, doesn't matter. I just love getting inside these old buildings. And for me, that was kind of a flow into this. And I know some of you guys were here this spring when I did a presentation here. I do you were here too, I remember. Visiting the Beyond, which is a tour through haunted buildings around the country. I do a full presentation that way too. So for me, coming into the group, I'm not so much the experienced investigator, but I do a lot of the history, a lot of the research. I know the people that own some of the buildings and have been in a lot of the structures. So from that standpoint is where I kind of add to it. Matt and Amanda come in adding, Matt's he's the guy up here with all the terminology, technology. He'll talk your ears off about terms and tools and techniques. And, Amanda's got extensive history in that. And Justin, well, he's our
Token
eye candy. Was that what? Real boy.
No, I've always had a curiosity for trying to figure things out, to solve mysteries. I've been a deputy sheriff for 10 years and degree in psychology, things like that. And it's kind of accidental how I got involved with Matt and Amanda with their group, Midwest Preternatural. It was about the same time that Kurt and Beth were looking to find a show. So it's just been a series of coincidences for me to get from point A to point B. So
Go ahead, 2 more questions and I'll shut up. Why do you think the paranormal, and especially ghosts, are all the rage right now? Number 1. And number 2, do any of you have any interest in other paranormal phenomenon like UFOs or cryptids or psychic phenomena?
Yes, that's a good one for Erika. Why do you like it so much?
Well, I like it, since I was I started liking it when I was really little, and there's a theory that really little kids can kind of talk to spirits, and my mom said that I used to sit in my room in the middle of the night or whatever, wake up and just full-out conversation with nobody. And when I'd go to school, she'd take a nap before she went to work, and somebody'd be bouncing on bed. So I don't really remember that personally because I was really little. But that's how I got into it. But I think a lot of kids like it because, I don't know.
Scary.
Yeah, scary. They like to get spooked and.
The media's had a lot to do with it. Sci-Fi Channel, Travel Channel.
I also think science and technology over the last 50 years or so has really been able to explain a lot of the mysteries of life. And I think it's one of the few mysteries that's still out there that really can't be definitively answered. And I think people are attached to that, they're attracted to that, and they want to know themselves. And the other question, I'm sorry?
Do any of you have any other interest in paranormal phenomenon like UFOs, cryptids, psychic phenomenon, that kind of thing?
I actually
focus is ghosts, so.
Yeah, I actually was more interested in potential for extraterrestrials before the ghost thing. I think scientifically that is, if you know anything about the Drake equation, I don't want to really get into the whole thing, but I think that is actually more scientifically feasible than ghosts. But if you look at it scientifically.
You're off the show.
So, I know. It's a passing interest. I mean, I've been outside of Area 51 and things like that, but I don't, have like alien sculptures in my room and stuff.
You do have a motorcycle that you give a name to.
I do, yeah.
Do you have fears?
Fears?
Yes.
I do. You talking specifically to me or to all of us?
In your endeavors,
In this,
investigations.
No.
Not really. Spiders, maybe.
right, man?
I'm more afraid of living people than the ghosts.
Let me tell you this, I have been in all these buildings and all these places, I've never had anything point blank scare me to the point of saying I've been terrified. Yet I have, just the other day, walked down into my basement, came around the corner, and my daughter has this doll sitting in a high chair. And I walked down the stairs and I saw that and I just about filled my pants. Big eye, one of those, it poops too, that scared me. What was that? Chucky poops? Chucky is in our third episode this season.
Chucky the doll.
Chucky is in our third episode this season coming up. You have to watch that.
I can say I've seen shadow people when I lived in Florida.
In what sense did you get?
What is a shadow person?
A lot of people believe it's a ghost that can't fully manifest itself, and some people believe it's an evil entity. When I saw it, I didn't get an evil feeling from it at all. Actually, where I lived in Florida, I had a balcony that looked out onto the river, and I woke up like in the middle of the night to go get a drink of water, and I look out and there's the glass to go out to the balcony, and on the balcony I see this probably like 6 foot tall guy walking back and forth on my balcony. But I mean, I didn't get any evil feelings or anything like that from it at all.
And that brings up a whole discussion on what is a ghost? Is
Energy versus
Is it energy of a
spiritual.
dead spirit, a dead person? Is it, if you know anything about string theory or membrane theory, is it an alternate universe? I mean, if you think of universe as a sheet of paper, another sheet of paper, sometimes they come into contact and that's what you're seeing. And there's so many different explanations that people have for this stuff. So that's one of the reasons I'm here.
It could be something we have no idea even what it is. That's more what intrigues me about it. Right, Justin?
Just tell them that. You gotta ruin it.
That's what's the plan.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Have you ever had the experience of being drained of energy? Like you see on these TV shows?
Where the ghost is draining on your energy.
No.
I mean, I've had things where, I'll point blank at the Roff home, walking through there, there's feelings you get in different rooms. I wouldn't say it was anything really overly draining, but just different, you just feel more congested, more pressure in certain rooms that we would walk into initially when we walked through the place. Yet going through the house at a different time of the night, you'd be in that same room and it was just lifted. That I couldn't explain, but nothing that physically, drained me to the point of collapsing like we sometimes see on television. I've never, would it have happened to me? I haven't experienced it yet, I don't know. Matt gets fatigued a lot when he's...
Matt, you don't believe in the battery drain theory though, do you?
No, I don't. I don't believe that ghosts really drain batteries to manifest like you see on a lot of TV shows. I think it could be maybe more like just like a natural reaction between the energy of the ghost and the battery.
But we have it happen a lot of times. That Shakers episode too.
Sure.
We were filming, we couldn't keep that camera right there. We couldn't keep that battery going.
There's other things that cause batteries to drain too. Like you could just buy a brand new one that could be defective, or it could maybe be like the cold or something.
Yeah, the cold really drains batteries quickly.
Or when an hour before you're shooting, Matt's sitting there with the batteries going.
Matt still does that?
Yeah, he still does that. It's pick
You
on
got
that.
another question?
Yeah, what is your favorite piece of equipment for capturing, like evidence, and why?
Matt's is the key too.
No, it's not.
I think mine's the voice recorder, because when you get an EVP, you're getting an actual response, and it's not like a picture of a piece of dust or something like that, so.
Is it an enhanced recorder, or is it just a regular digital?
We just usually use regular digital.
Okay.
One we use is Olympus brand, so.
Mine came right off the rack at Radio Shack.
My favorite is video. I mean, just because it's one of the few pieces of evidence that you can show someone and have them see the same thing that you saw. I mean, there's always doubts about the EVPs, especially on some of these shows. Close your ears before you. Some of these shows and magazines and things where we think their EVPs are if not
Like this.
advertising.
I killed it. I killed it. That's what they sound like.
Sure. But with video evidence, it's really hard to dispute.
Can't dispute it.
Just then, at that exact moment, our recorder.
Yeah, exactly.
Capture this.
Scripted at some point. Here it is.
Yeah. But obviously, video evidence, good quality video evidence is probably the most difficult to find as well. But it's the most convincing if you do.
Photography is great, but it's so photoshopped nowadays, you can't take anything as gold.
Yeah.
What are your expectations when you go into a haunted house, and do they influence what you see or hear? Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's like your ghost hunters would go into a house and expect to find something, and maybe, do you know what I mean? They might, every little sound or every little cold spot that's a ghost.
I'll tell you right now, if we all sit here for 10 minutes in dead silence and listen, we're gonna hear something.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that. It might be Matt's stomach, it might be the light buzzing that we hear over there. It could be anything, and you're gonna hear it. But you're not paying attention to it in your everyday life.
Right.
And yeah, I think a lot of times, something pops, a pipe pops.
As a psychology major, I also believe strongly in the power of suggestion. They actually have done a study. I don't know who did the study or where it was, but they had taken two groups of people, and they had said that we're going to take you to a haunted location, you're going to do a paranormal investigation. One group of people, they said, oh my gosh, you're going to see this, you're going to hear this is a ghost, this is a ghost. And the other group said, well, there might not be anything here. And they did their investigations, and when they were done, they interviewed everybody, and guess who saw basically everything? It was the folks that were told they were going to see basically everything. So when I go to these locations, oftentimes I read just the bare minimum on what occurred there, the history of the house and things like that, but I don't go to YouTube and listen to what everybody else found. I don't do all that because I believe that could influence what I expect when I get there. So when I come to an investigation, I come with an open mind, and if I see stuff, great. If I don't, that's fine too.
Like any filming in cemeteries or anything?
Well, first of all,
Logistical nightmare.
yeah. It's a nightmare from the standpoint of, filming and quality of film, but the problem that people who do paranormal investigating have really run into lately are people going out ghost hunting in the name of science, but they're really out
Do you get scared?
out for a scare fright factor, and a lot of it actually tends to happen in cemeteries if it's a place that you can get into easy enough. And what's happened is you've had groups going in, usually younger groups going in, really younger groups going in, who will go in leaving soda cans, tipping over gravestones, spray painting things. It's not that uncommon to hear of ghost hunters nowadays going in and trashing a cemetery. Sure. So the last thing we want to do with our show, not that we're telling people not to go there, but we don't want to be, we keep track on YouTube logistics and statistics of people who watch our show. There is a younger crowd that watches it. We don't want to be kind of supporting them going into those environments that may cause that kind of graffiti or vandalism or something, if that makes any sense.
Right, yeah.
All the places we go to, we get permission. We 100% are legitimate to be there, and we don't want to really direct anybody to go into that case to deface the paranormal investigation as a whole. Does that make sense to where? Yeah, okay. We've got sensitivity to people that may have loved ones. They're there, if they're during the day too, that they have a bunch of people walking around with meters, trying to communicate, but it gets touchy in that area too.
Sure. Have you ever been turned down by anybody saying, nope, to do an investigation? Yeah.
One was actually a cemetery. I don't know if you've ever heard of Glenbeulah Cemetery in Sheboygan County. That's the area that I patrol. I'm up there all the time, but the community absolutely has zero tolerance for anybody being in that cemetery, and they finally passed an ordinance after 5 o'clock it's closed.
This wasn't for filming of our episode.
Well, we had asked them if we
Yeah.
could film there, and they wouldn't even approach, even with knowing who I was, patrolling that area, they said, no, we don't have any exposure. But I know there are a couple other places.
Oh, the Aslan State Park we've been trying to get into down in Lake Mills area. Not gonna let us in there to film.
Green Lake Cemetery is another one that's pretty well off limits right now.
And if we do go into the state park, they want a script to review first.
There's a lighthouse too, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, the lighthouse up on the northwest side of Milwaukee, northeast side of Milwaukee. That guy just about ripped me a new for even calling and wasting his time. The other one that kind of get me upset is the one right here in Brookfield, the Dowsman House over across from the middle school. Very haunted reported place, and they are basically said, nope, we are not haunted. But if those of you who are here for my presentation, or people that work here sitting here that said that place is haunted. Right across the street from the middle school on in Elm Grove, Clover Parkway.
Will they do the reenactments all the time?
Behind the golf course.
Yeah.
It's old stagecoach house.
So the ghosts will move with the property? Because that building was relocated, you know.
Yeah, and it's possible they can.
Don't care, they stay with the building?
It's happened. I know that there's a house that's been moved where it's been carried.
Residual haunts can be in a piece of furniture. I mean, it's...
Your rocking chair.
Sure, absolutely.
You all right, Beth?
Yeah,
All right, I just didn't know if you needed another tape.
I do need one too.
Okay, I'm gonna excuse myself quick. I'm gonna run out to my truck and grab some tapes.
Would you guys ever did you ever think of investigating the Waite House?
So you
Is that
had only one or two?
Yeah, we did
Only
actually.
one right now.
And that's something we have to approach. We don't know what the specific stories of the haunts are yet, but it's a very, very interesting house. It's kind of like the Brumder Mansion. You've been up to the Waite House?
Oh, yeah, the Waite House.
I actually was there not too long ago, and I do have a picture I posted online, and we were taking pictures. They were just there as a normal tour, not like looking for ghost stuff. I just did it because I go to all the historical societies. And, you know, that big a weekend I take the kids there and they go through, and we were in, and I posted it online, and I did want to contact them about it too, and see if they would be open to it. But when we were in the master bedroom, there is a dresser on the one wall that has a mirror on it, and right behind it is a chair, and the chair was empty. And I was actually standing next up to the chair on the other side of like a wall, and I took a picture, and the reflection that came back, it shows a girl sitting in a chair.
Oh, wow.
And it's pretty clear. You can't really see a face make out, but you can definitely make out like the shoulders and like the face shape, and then the hair that moves down the one side of her face. So
Now, did you notice
very interesting.
Did you notice that picture after you got home or right after?
I actually don't usually look at pictures while I'm there because of the SLR quality, that if I stopped and if I took a picture and I went back to review it and look at it, my battery would be done in an hour. And normally when I use the SLR, we have a very large memory card on it, and it can snap like 5 frames in a second. So I'll just take picture after picture after picture, and I don't have time to look at them as we're walking through a normal tour like that either. But yeah, I noticed it when I got back, and I had actually taken about 3 or 4 pictures of that same location, and it only showed up in the one.
Wow.
So it was very interesting. I posted it on our Facebook, but I've been kind of looking at it a little more analytically to see if maybe I just caught a weird reflection from light outside. But I would like to go back and see what kind of glass it is. If it's a lead glass, it's going to be kind of weird, and you might hit something like that.
Right. Do you know if there are any stories of the house?
I do know the stories of the house. It was, well, when I don't want to get into it now, I'm going to take up your time, obviously. But yeah, I can tell you about the stories of the house. I don't believe there were any kind of violent murder or anything there.
Yeah, but when you read the historical record, I mean, some crazy stuff happened on that property. I mean, people were attacked by wolves and things like that. So I mean, but it was get in touch with. Yeah, get in touch with Matt. Maybe you can send that photo to him, and he can take a look at that.
Curious of all of you, which...
For me, I would say my most interesting one was when I first started investigating. My brother bought this house, and it was built in the 1950s. So my mom was joking around like, oh, the house is haunted, and we're like, oh yeah, right. So we got to this one spare bedroom, and we felt like the energy was just different in that room. So he had a cat door where a cat could go in and out of the room. So we shut the door, threw a tape recorder in there, and my brother says, okay, if I put a tape recorder in here for you, tell us your life story. So we listen back and you hear a guy saying, I won't. And that was the first piece of evidence I ever caught. And that's what really got me interested in doing all of this.
And for me, it was this place I investigated years ago called JFK Prep, and Michael was there with me as a joint investigation.
Showing the ropes, man.
Is that St. Nathan's?
Yep. And it was our first night there. It's JFK Prep, it's like several buildings. We were divided up. We had like a group in each building. One of the groups was in the old dorms investigating. The owner stopped in just to like check up on us, asked him, would you like to try asking some questions too? And he said, okay. And he asked, what should I do with the place? Because this place is like all run down, and he wanted to like fix it up or do something with it. And then we repeat, what should he do with the place? And then we don't remember hearing anything at the time with our ears. But then the next day when we went back and we played back the audio, you hear nothing.
I was at Waverly Hills, the old tuberculosis hospital down in Louisville, Kentucky. On the third floor, it's a massive shadow person hallway. And you can stand there and look either way down these, it's a monstrous building. You can stand in the middle and look down those hallways, and you start just kind of just seeing things shifting back and forth down these distant hallways in the night. We were there, I took my wife there for our 15th wedding anniversary. You guys are laughing, but she cuddles me the whole night. Right? But
Nothing says I love you like a poltergeist.
we'll talk about that later. We were there. We were on a scheduled tour with the staff of the place and some other people, and they had asked. They said the best thing you can do though is to have somebody walk down that hallway by themselves. Not that the person's going to walk down there and get terrorized or attacked or scratched or whatever, but what they wanted somebody to do was walk down the hallway and stand like this. Arms out, legs spread. Because if somebody's standing down that hallway, you're creating a visual point to stare at, a focal point, and you could apparently start seeing shadows pass underneath the legs, shadows blacking out the light underneath the arms. So my wife raised her hand and she goes, he'll go down there. I'll be honest, I wanted to go down there, but there were other people that had never done this kind of thing before, so I wanted to give somebody else a chance first, but nobody else wanted to. So I walked maybe 3 lengths of this room down the hallway and stood there like this with my back to the rest of the group. And I had an angle now down the next set of hallway, which I could see. There was a fan, exhaust fan on the end of the hallway that I could see blacking out constantly. It was amazing. They had no idea what I was seeing. But as I'm standing there, a few minutes pass by, all of a sudden my right leg, from my knee down to my ankle, I had shorts on, just starts charging up with static electricity. Like when you take a balloon up against your arm, or you turn off an old tube TV set, you feel that, just that static electricity. That's what it felt like. It's on that right leg, just charged up, that right leg, not my arms, not my other leg, not my neck or anything like that, just on that leg. About 2 seconds after I start feeling that charge on my leg, I can hear behind me down the hallway a bunch of women whispering, including my wife. They're back there. And it was my wife, another woman on the tour, and the gal who was the tour guide from Waverly Hills. I kind of leaned back, shouted behind, what are you guys whispering about? And my wife yells back, there's a big like oval-shaped shadow over your right leg right now. And at the same time I was feeling that static charge on my leg. I look down, I don't see anything. All of a sudden, boom, the static charge completely disappeared, and then they yelled back, okay, it's gone now. Wow. And it's like you feel these things happen to you, and it's like, wow, that's neat, but what really is it? Am I just feeling this? Is it unnatural? But when you have 3 people back there validating, and they didn't know I was feeling that until afterwards. I'm getting just goosebumps talking about it, And, it really sparks your interest, and that was one thing for me that was really, keeps me kind of an interest in what really is out there. And then about a couple weeks later, they ran the Ghost Adventures episode where they talked about the creeper on the 3rd floor that crawls up the walk of the ceiling and like the grudge kind of thing. So I probably got creeped.
Yeah.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
It doesn't sound like any of you have tried to manifest somebody personally.
Are you trying to conjure up something or
Well,
draw something?
if you have a beloved who is left or passed to the other side and you want contact or some demonstration of their existence in another form.
I've never opted to do that.
See that?
Yeah, that would be more, of, like I said, more of the psychics and spiritualists and stuff like that. So, you know, who's to say that that stuff isn't accurate or wrong? I mean, I think there's a lot of room for foul play and some dubious, evidence there, but we don't do that on our show. So, yes, sir.
What do your fellow officers think of you doing this? And have you ever had a paranormal?
I consider myself unlucky in that I haven't had personal experience before I got involved with these guys. I don't have a lot of experience investigating. Like I said, I just got involved with Matt and Amanda for a couple months before I got with the show. So other than some coincidental stuff, I haven't had the big childhood experiences that these guys have. With that, I'm also kind of the skeptic of the group. But I'm what I call an open-minded skeptic in that I am waiting for evidence. If there's evidence that sends me one way or the other, I'm certainly going to listen to it. I'm going to keep an open mind. But at this point, I'm kind of on the fence with regards to if this stuff is real or not. So at work, I've spent hours upon hours at the Glenview Cemetery, though, just because it's a really quiet place to do paperwork, frankly, because the kids know not to go up there because they know that they're going to get trespassing citations. But just the curiosity part of it, I've listened and I've seen I've seen people try to get evidence, and I haven't seen anything myself. And it wasn't until this Roff House investigation, when you see the second part, when does that premiere?
The whole thing will come out in its entirety on the 25th.
Okay.
It's going to be on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube, on the 25th. That's actually the first thing that has happened to me that's kind of caught me off guard a little bit and is raising an eyebrow. So, everybody's looking for that one moment that they can say, I believe now. But I think if you don't have that moment, there's also circumstantial evidence. It's just like going to court. If you catch somebody red-handed, obviously that's just as good as having 25 or 30 pieces of circumstantial evidence that all points to the same thing too. And I think that's kind of the path that I'm taking right now, just seeing little bits and pieces. But I haven't had that eureka moment. But this episode here was probably the closest I've come.
Have any of your fellow officers had any paranormal?
Yeah, actually, I'm trying to get one to go on camera. It's called the Mitchell Monster. Have you ever heard of that? Being from that area?
I believe I've heard the name, I never looked into it.
Yeah, he's absolutely convinced that there's some kind of a werewolf-like creature in the town of Mitchell, and he's seen it. The story is odd. We also had another incident with a DNR warden who was picking up dead deer. Have you heard that one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, picking up dead deer. He gets in his car, the pickup truck just shakes violently, he turns around, and so that's the only thing. Otherwise, cops are pretty cynical, down-to-earth people, and they don't really like to keep open minds and things like this. So I get a lot of crud at work sometimes, but hey, it's fun.
Have you ever done anything in Asheville, North Carolina?
I have not been anywhere in North Carolina.
Gettysburg is the big place that I really want to go.
That would be cool.
We're talking about that. USS Arizona, you could do that. So there are just so many places out there that are on our list that we want to go to, and it's just it's a money issue for everyone.
Outside of a nice video camera, what do you use for equipment?
I'll refer to our tech manager.
For us?
For your investigations.
Where's your bag?
Go get your paranormal diaper bag, man. Have your case.
No, I don't. Okay, first of all, this is a carbon monoxide meter. This is a debunking tool. Lower non-lethal levels of carbon monoxide can still cause feelings of nausea and sickness, which sometimes people mistake for a paranormal presence, and that's why we have this. Motion detectors. I don't really believe that these detect the presence of ghosts. We use them more for security, make sure nobody's like tampering with our equipment while we have like a camera set up and then we like go do something else. EMF meters. He's gonna bring out his K2, I bet.
Well, people recognize it, so.
Yeah.
These are the good EMF meters.
Well, that's just another type of EMF meter that's not quite as effective.
Right.
Digital recorders? Yeah. Okay.
Digital recorders.
Magic ghost dust?
Thermometer.
There's actually, and that's actual tool, believe it or not. We've used that before.
Flour or talcum powder?
It's an old Nancy Drew technique, you know? Honestly, you
You
know,
can test that for you quick, make sure.
board or something, or around a threshold of a door to see if anybody's walking through there, talcum powder, flour, etc., look for footprints and things, so.
And then thermometer just for taking air temperature. Camera, video camera, and we also use a lot of control, a lot of
What?
trigger objects.
Trigger object, yeah.
To try to get a reaction. We've tried using like children's, like little dolls. We've tried reading out of children's books. One time we actually set up a big projection screen like this and we projected like old, like turn of the century black and white photos of the location while playing like period music, see if that would get a response.
Did it?
No.
That word was tried.
That's the All Things episode, and I have never seen so many technical difficulties in my life.
Otherwise, you've got some things that, do you want to just explain kind of what experience you had?
Well, last summer, first I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a cancer of the lymph nodes, and I got through that and I got a chance to do Make-A-Wish, and my wish was to meet Zach Bagans and Louis Mitchell's crew, and they had me meet them at the Winchester Mystery House. So they gave me some of their equipment. This is an Ovilus tube, and it's like an electronic dictionary that spirits can take words, whatever they want, and it talks. And it has to run through like 30 minutes of words until you can actually use it in an investigation. Like it just said eat.
Cookies.
So this is kind of a controversial tool right now with post-belief science,
And then this one is a millimeter, which is basically an EMF meter. And I'll turn it on and it reads like EMF, like if a spirit would walk past it, like, or like do this, these lights would light up, and this yellow thing detects temperature, and it'll show like on the screen what the EMF level is and the temperature.
And EMF being electromagnetic fields in the atmosphere around the just making sure everybody's at different levels in here. So it's picking up environmental changes on several different spectrums on the, electromagnetic, temperatures, all these different things all at once at the same time on one unit, which is why that's a...
and this is basically the same thing as the two tri-fields that are right there, except this has more flashy lights and looks really looks cool on
Zach
TV.
gave it to
It looks cool on TV. Yeah. And it is nice. It's
Cool new value.
I haven't really used it yet. I'm gonna use it this on Saturday. Like this with Zach and stuff.
And what we want to do tonight is, with behalf of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, anybody who has purchased DVDs or t-shirts tonight, the entire cast for any size cash donation to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, we're going to autograph everything. Even if you don't want it autographed, you can still get it.
I think what you said was you'd sign anything for a donation.
Exactly. Anything.
That's what you said.
Yes.
Anything.
Except Matt's what?
Can you purchase t-shirts online?
We do not have the ability to purchase t-shirts online yet.
If you We can change that as of tomorrow.
Yeah. We just got the t-shirts.
Oh, really?
I picked them up today from the screener. The DVDs just came in today, just in time for this, so we got everything.
Is that through our current website, or is it the one we're reconstructing right now?
That's going to be a question you need to ask me when we're not standing here.
Okay.
But yeah, I
Eventually you'll be able to order on
Okay.
Yeah, they will be available online eventually, yes.
I'll have a link on the YouTube page for sure by the 25th.
They'll be available, so we'll be able to do that. Well, we got, the library closes in about 20 minutes or so. So if we want to have any fun and shoot anything quickly, we need to do that. We are doing a public ghost hunt in Oshkosh at the Grand Opera House. We will have all of us there.
You going?
Yep. Tickets are $20. They're available through the box office right now. It's a 9 o'clock to 1 a.m. ghost hunt of the Haunted Theater in Oshkosh. So if you want to come for an evening ghost hunt with all of us, that will be that night. We're going to break up into 5 groups. Beth will be there as well too. And we're going to rotate people throughout the building. We'll have our equipment. You can bring your own if you want, or just come and just sit and sense the building. But we'll have full access to the full Opera House on the 1st. And then I've got one other one in Iowa that I'm doing, which is way on the western side of Iowa, so it's probably a little too far for most of you guys, but another public ghost hunt out there at the American Theater in Cherokee that I'm working with a place out there. We got a couple radio interviews coming up on some internet stuff. We have a Facebook page. If you guys want to keep in touch with us, look us up, Paranormal Generation, on Facebook. You'll get all the updates. We don't throw 30 things on your wall every single day. That's a good way to get dropped really fast. But, we definitely have that option. Our website, paranormalgeneration.com. And like I said, we do have the new t-shirts and everything. And if anybody wants to help, we're going to try to see if you're willing to throw $1 in the pot to help Make-A-Wish, we're up for whatever we can do. And if we're going to insist on it if you want us to sign something. And we're nobody. We don't really need to sign it. We're not that important yet. But
Yes.
yes, that's the key.
You guys can say you were there from the beginning.
Yes. Season 2 premiere. But the DVDs just got in. This is the first 3 seasons. Season 3 we have, or season 1. Disc 1 has the Kewanee Inn up in Kewanee, Wisconsin. 2 half-hour episodes of that. And the first half of Shaker's Cigar Bar, filmed down in Milwaukee. Disc 2 has the second half of Shaker's Cigar Bar. And then it has Elsing's Secondhand Shop in Stoughton, Wisconsin, part 1 and part 2 on the second DVD. And the third one has the Alchemist Theater in Bayview. It also has the Hamachek Village, which is a historic, we went to the schoolhouse and the morgue building up in Kewanee, through those 2 buildings. And the last one was actually, I was doing one of my presentations down in Princeton, Illinois, and a woman came up to me after the presentation and said, Kurt, I got something really weird going in this new house I just bought. And we actually packed up and went down there and did an investigation on this poor woman's house. And it was a pretty interesting place. And we've got just people, we're all downstairs and you're hearing things going on upstairs. It's all caught on audio. We got special features on that disc too that have extended clips of that audio. And I think a blooper reel too is on there too. Is that the one where Matt wet his pants, or was that?
If you haven't figured it out from this evening, you get lots of bloopers.
Yes.
3D effect. There we go. Is the camera okay? I didn't break it, did I? All right. But yeah, we got to be kind of wrapped up here, but we want to go ahead. If anybody has to leave, by all means, you are free to go. We appreciate you coming. Thank you for coming. But if anybody wants to stick around for a few minutes, we are going to try to shoot our opening sequence. You saw the one Beth kind of threw together on the phone there. She did a good job with that. But we're going to go ahead. We're actually going to shoot that right here live. If you want to stick around, be a part of it. We're going to announce it's live. And then we're also going to shoot a quick commercial for the Ghost Tales TV network. Anybody who wants to be in the background on it too and shout out, "Get your ghost on" in unison, you can be on the commercial, which I guarantee you they will play that like crazy. Grab some cookies, guys, on your way out. Take some home for lunch tomorrow. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.